Lynn Henriksen is now beginning the last third of his life. During the previous two-thirds, he has lived in various parts of the world and experienced many different cultures firsthand. Now, living in Provo, where he was born and raised, he works as a professor in the Linguistics and English Language Department at Brigham Young University, and tries to take good care of himself while also caring for his wife, children, grandchildren, and aging parents. In previous Toastmasters speeches, Lynn has introduced the DARE lifestyle for staying healthy, productive, and happy in your senior years, and explained the D in the DARE acronym. Today, he will talk to us about the next letter in DARE, A for activity. Please join me in welcoming Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Traverse Mountain separates Utah Valley and the Salt Lake Valley. Midway up this mountain is Traverse Ridge, where hang gliders frequently begin their flights. But some people take a different approach to steep Traverse Ridge and ride their bicycles up over this steep mountain. The challenging Traverse Ridge Trail is several miles long and rises 2,000 vertical feet from the valley floor. A few months ago, Lloyd Guthrie was pedaling up Traverse Ridge, which he regularly did. In fact, his friends and family called it Lloyd's Hill, when he suffered a fatal heart attack. Now you may say, how tragic for a person to leave this life when he was still so vigorous and healthy. But I say, no, this is not a sad story. This is a happy one. After seeing my mother's long, slow physical and mental decline over many years, I now envy people who stay healthy and active until it's time for them to go. You see, Lloyd Guthrie was not a young cyclist. He was 83 years old. Lloyd Guthrie's story illustrates the importance of the second letter in the DARE acronym, which represents the formula for staying healthy in your senior years. In my last speech, I spoke about the importance of proper diet. That's the D. Today, I'm going to talk about the second letter in the DARE acronym, the A, which stands for staying physically and mentally active. As we grow older, we often get out of shape. A few extra pounds, aches and pains. That's just what happens with old age, right? It comes with the territory, we tell ourselves. That is not necessarily true. Experts today teach that the physical decline associated with aging is not simply the result of getting older. It's partly a product of becoming less active as we age. Studies show that older people who engage in regular exercise can turn back the clock by as much as 20 years in terms of heart and respiratory function, blood pressure, blood sugar, strength, bone density, flexibility, muscle mass, and even mood. Of course, there are many types of exercise, and each produces different benefits. First, for your body's respiratory and circulatory systems, there's aerobic or cardiovascular exercise. To strengthen your muscles and bones, strength training or resistance exercise is the key. Your body's flexibility is increased through stretching exercises. And finally, your mind requires several types of exercise to stay active and strong. I will talk about each of these four types in turn, but first let me emphasize that engaging in these activities takes effort and discipline. Older people in their retirement years often find themselves busier than ever and may therefore neglect this important aspect of their physical health unless they make exercise a priority and include it in their daily schedule. It's easy to get caught up in other things and forget to take care of yourself as you age, but the price can be heavy. As British Earl Edward Stanley once said, "Those who think they have not time for bodily exercise will sooner or later have to find time for illness." Case in point, my poor mother, confined to her bed or wheelchair First at home, now in a care center, with almost no physical or mental capacity. Month after expensive month. Year after dreary year. Even when she was still capable of some physical exercise, she refused to do it. She said, "Just let me sit here and save my strength." Unfortunately, it does not work that way. In your senior years, you have to maintain your strength through activity. In contrast to my suffering mother, consider Esther Tuttle, who recently celebrated her 100th birthday and still leads an active life. She gets up each morning and does an hour of yoga and other floor exercises. Then she goes out for a half-hour walk before eating breakfast. Or consider Sister Madonna Budar, a Catholic nun, now in her 80s, close in age to my mother, who is known as the Iron Nun because she regularly runs full marathons. Or consider Fauja Singh, who ran his first marathon at age 89. And last year became the oldest person to complete a marathon at 100. Aerobic, or cardiovascular exercise, is the kind that will get your heart pumping, your blood flowing. It includes dancing, aerobics, jogging, swimming, anything that gets your heart pumping. Plays an important role in reducing the risk of heart and blood vessel disease, which is the leading cause of death in the United States today, responsible for at least 500,000 deaths each year. Steady aerobic exercise produces dramatic improvements in your circulatory system, which is one of the ways exercise saves your life. Inactive people have twice the risk of heart attack compared with those who regularly exercise. And your circulatory system is only one part of your body that benefits from aerobic activity. A workout may be your ticket to youth at the cellular level. Scientists can estimate how quickly cells are aging by the shortening of protective caps or telomeres on the ends of your chromosomes. In a study of 7,800 women, Harvard researchers found that women who did moderate to vigorous workouts for 2 to 4 hours a week had longer telomeres, equivalent to being 6 or 7 years younger. Next, you guessed it, right? The second type of activity is strength training or resistance exercise. Contrary to what many people think, weight training is not just for the young. Everyone, especially seniors, everyone, especially seniors, should do resistance training. It can improve your balance, increase muscle mass, metabolism, improve flexibility, increase bone density, prevent injury, and prevent weight gain. One study of people with lower back pain, a common ailment of the aged, found that 81% of the cases were due to either inelastic muscles or weak muscles. To combat such problems, experts recommend 20 to 30 minutes of resistance training 2 or 3 times a week. Perhaps you think you're already too old or frail. The truth is, you cannot afford not to engage in some sort of physical activity. Exercise is the key to staying strong, energetic, and healthy as you get older. Regular physical activity improves strength, flexibility, and posture. This in turn will help with balance, coordination, and reduce the risk of falls. Strength training with light weights can also alleviate the symptoms of arthritis and other joint ailments. People with arthritis often see it as a barrier to strength training, but that is not the case. Increased muscle strength actually protects the joints from further damage and lets them heal. Most arthritis patients report about a 50% reduction in pain and limitations with several months of strength training. Minor arthritis usually disappears entirely. My own experience supports this point. When I was about 40 years old, I started having knee pain. I couldn't run without pain, both during and after the run. Then it started to hurt just to walk. Then my knees hurt even when I was just sitting. I tried doctors, pills, elastic braces, the works. There was no improvement. I feared I was doomed to live the rest of my life in pain, unable to run or even walk very far. My parents said that I was just getting old and should learn to live with it. Finally, I talked with a physical therapist on campus who recommended knee extensions with weights. As I pulsed my leg up against the resistance, my quadriceps muscles strengthened, my kneecaps started to track properly, and the pain went away. Eventually, I was able to run again. More on that in just a minute. Now, not everyone has knee pain or needs this particular resistance exercise that I learned to do. All seniors, however, lose muscle mass over time unless they do some sort of strength training. Crowley and Lodge say strength training is critical to the rest of your life. And you can start at any age. Sedentary, 70-year-old men double their leg strength with 3 months of weight training. Aerobic exercise saves your life. Strength training makes it worth living. One of the signs of aging is loss of flexibility. Stretching exercises is the way to combat this problem. Doing stretching is especially important if you're also doing strength training, because weightlifting tends to tighten and shorten your muscles, reducing your range of motion. Stretching increases it. In addition, stretching is a nice cool-down activity after aerobic exercise or weightlifting. It's also a nice stress reliever at the end of the day, or a pleasant way to welcome each morning. Your brain also needs to stay active as you grow older, or else it will begin to atrophy. That is, waste away. You've probably already heard advice such as do crossword puzzles daily, play Scrabble to exercise your brain. Well, that's a start, and it's certainly better than watching most television shows. Just talking with another human being does more for your brain than watching TV does. Reading does more than talking, and doing an online search can stimulate your aging brain even more than reading a book. If you're not into computers, start a new hobby. Learning has the same protective effect on your brain as strength training does on your bones. By building new connections, your brain gets stronger and stays in shape longer. If you really want to challenge your brain, learn a new language. Recent research shows that learning and using a foreign language, even late in life, delays the onset of dementia by 4 years on the average. Since I've studied 8 foreign languages and use 5 of them regularly, I'm hoping that will buy me at least another 20 or 30 years of lucidity in my old age. Now, if language learning is too challenging for you, you can play chess or travel to new surroundings. The general rule is to keep working at learning. Fill your brain with additional cognitive reserve, and you will be better able to tolerate the plaques and tangles of Alzheimer's, if you ever get it. Another very important thing you can do to keep your brain sharp is physical exercise. A recent headline proclaimed that a growing body of evidence links exercise and mental acuity. The major implication is that exercise not only keeps the brain from rotting, but it also reverses the cell deterioration associated with aging. We used to think that adults could not grow new brain cells. Now it's believed that thousands of new brain cells are born every day. The trick is to keep the newborns alive. What does the trick? Among other things, aerobic exercise and strenuous mental activity. A recent study found that people ages 65 and older that exercise physically at least 3 times per week had a 30 to 40% lower risk of dementia than those in their age group who did not exercise. In sum, physical activity is the single most important thing you can do to enhance brain function. Use it or lose it. That's the merciless rule, the merciless law that governs physical and mental decline in your senior years. As Russell M. Nelson, a prominent cardiologist and church leader, recently put it, because the body is governed by divine law, any healing comes by obedience to the law upon which that blessing is predicated. In other words, if you want your senior years to be truly golden, filled with functionality, and characterized by independence and a minimum of pain, you must commit to getting a healthy dose of physical and mental exercise nearly every day. You need to think of exercise as medicine, and then take that medicine as faithfully as you do your pills. Of course, talking the talk is a lot easier than walking the walk. But as I've grown older, I've tried to do both. For the last few years, I've tried to either run, swim, cycle, or lift weights every morning and stretch every evening. It has kept me healthy and strong enough that last Saturday I participated in my second triathlon. I did my first one when I was 61. I never dared try anything so strenuous when I was younger. This past Saturday, I got satisfaction from being the oldest participant and from finishing the triathlon, which involved swimming a quarter mile, cycling 10 miles, and then running 5 kilometers, all in an hour and a half. I got a nice t-shirt, and I even got a gold medal. First place, 60 and above. But even more important, the activities I engaged in to prepare for this race left me healthier and stronger for all the other days of the year. May you enjoy the blessings of health and strength in your old age by obeying the law upon which this blessing is predicated. Activity, represented by the second letter in the DARE acronym, and a crucial part of the DARE lifestyle. Thank you very much.
Bravo.
Oh, thank you.